And they ask, well, hey, bad actors exist. And I'm like, yeah, this is like a catastrophic problem for like legacy anarcho-capitalism, because in your worst case scenario, you have a broken circulation of elites that leaves them unincentivized to be civilized towards the plebs, who are also uncivilized and already demand the elite's aggression as a service, leading to an explosive an explosion of pent-up demand, probably resulting in the shitty liberalism that we have right now. And your best case scenario is that, when you say, my property, my rules, et cetera, you remember that? What you just did without intending to is you just told all of the elites that they can have virtually unlimited power if it's their legitimate private property. And like, what do you think they're going to do with that information? Like, just a theory, but I imagine what the elites will do with that, knowledge that that they can have unlimited power if it's their property, is that they're going to team up with a bunch of other aspiring elites, to form, that they trust, in order to form hundreds to thousands to maybe tens of thousands of publicly traded corporations, in order to buy up all that land and make this endeavor that will eventually end up creating Yarvin's patchwork. Checkmate. That's checkmate right there. It's like, basically, like, your best case scenario in Ancapistan is patchwork, because the elites are going to say, hey, I can have unlimited power. It sounds great. All I need to do is buy up the land with elites I trust, and I can do that through corporations pretty easily, and then I win. And so and they'll end up just creating patchwork, which again is a private law society, not a medieval monarchy. And so, patchwork, it's like, okay, we can kind of just skip to the end. It's like the elites are incentivized to be, decent, to both their customers and to their shareholders. Is this panacea? Is it a silver bullet? Certainly not. But certainly doing so well, it's doing well so far for Fortune 500 companies. It seems like it's working. And, it's like, okay, well, where does equilibrium lie? In anarcho-capitalism, the price equilibrium mechanism that determines the value of power technically doesn't exist. So they actually have a broken price. They actually have a pricing problem. Imagine that. That's kind of ironic. This is the problem of our archotropism, is completely unhandled. And to the limited extent that it does, that it is kind of handled, like, it would end up creating Yarvin's patchwork. And again, that's the best case scenario. Your worst case scenario is that you get the shitty liberalism that we have right now. And and like patchwork, well, let's compare that to patchwork. It has two functioning price mechanisms in order to channel archotropism with. One, through its customers voting with their dollars and their feet, because again, same as a normal joint stock corporation. And in order to live under the joint stock corporation's jurisdiction, they have to sign a contract. And if they break that contract, they have to leave. That's basically, and so it's like, yeah, there's one price mechanism right there that actually deals with the value of power. But also there's a second one, because through its shareholders buying and trading corporations shares as they see fit. That they basically, because if a corporation is, not doing a very good job at handling those information bottlenecks, et cetera, if they're not doing, being as profitable as they can be, which, by the way, is profit in the long term, not in the short term, because again, if investors were valuing just saying, oh, well, why don't we just loot everything right now? Well, okay, now you've gotten back to, where Rothbard kind of proves this wrong, is that, hey, the predator will end up predating upon his last meal, and then the predator dies. So that's obviously not their incentive. Their incentive, and again, that's not a panacea, because you can still get like a North Korea. But again, North Korea is a medieval monarchy, not a corporate monarchy. North Korea has no shareholders. So, and then we end up at the, hey, monarchy has no constraints. And again, we're back to them arguing against medieval monarchy, not corporate monarchy, not the private law society patchwork that Yarvin is arguing for.